Well, it's another early start for a Sunday. So, this video is what I talked about last week, which is some very old Kodak TMX. It's expired probably by 2 decades. I did ask a lot of you last week if you had any idea of how old the film was. Most of you came up around about 2 decades, so 20 years. So I'm going to shoot this adjusted for 2 stops. So what the idea is to shoot 2 rolls of this, because I have 2 rolls of this film. I'm going to shoot one at +2 stops. I'm going to shoot one at standard exposure, and I'm also going to shoot a roll of TMX 100 brand new, not expired. And I'm going to use 3 backs because I've got 2 extra backs now, and I want to test these backs. Now these are the newer backs for the Hasselblad, so they have the dark slide holder in the back. So that goes in there and keeps it out of the way, because normally with Hasselblad backs you don't actually have a dark slide holder. You have to hold it or put it in your pocket, and that's how you bend it basically. So I've got these 2 backs, and like I said, it gives me a chance to test these backs, which is good because I haven't tested them yet, and I really don't want to do anything important with them and find out that they damage film. So we're going to test them as well. And I'm going to use my trusty Sekonic 308 light meter. It's a really good little light meter, this, and this is not going to be any scientific test. This is just going to be a bit of fun because the weather looks really good, because I'm looking across the road and it's super bright. So the good thing is I'll be able to shoot this at 2 stops above what I would normally shoot TMX at. So I need to adjust for that. I've got 3 backs, so hopefully I can do that. Yeah, so I'm going to be shooting with this, which is 503CW. Absolutely outstanding camera. I've absolutely fallen in love with these Hasselblad cameras. Yeah, I have the Mamiya 645. I'm not going to be using that anymore because the Hasselblad's just so nice to use, so compact, and the negatives are so nice. That square format, it's got something very special about it, and there's something nice about using a camera that has no light meter in it. So you have to really think, you have to use something like this and really think about your shot and make all the adjustments on the lens. So I'm going to load a roll of film now. I'm going to head off out and shoot 3 rolls of film with 3 different backs. Now, before I go, somebody did ask me last week why I don't shoot videos when I'm out and about, walking around doing this type of stuff. 2 reasons really. Number 1, I get so lost in my film photography, I would forget my camera. If I left it on a tripod, I would walk off, or I would just forget about it. The second reason is it's Auckland CBD, which is the central building district. Early on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, it's not the safest place, let's be honest. It's nothing bad, violent crime or anything, but there are always opportunists that will take a chance if they can. And if I'm concentrating on this, lining everything up, getting everything ready, and I've got a camera filming me, it probably will disappear, to be honest. So that's the reason why. But if you guys want me to film this when I go out and shoot these videos, let me know and I'll attach a GoPro. That's always on me, and hopefully nobody can steal that. So let's load some film, and I'm going to head off out, and then you'll see a slideshow in a minute. And then after the slideshow, we'll have a chat about the film and talk about how bad or how good this expired TMX is. Now, I forgot to mention that the 2 other backs that I'm using have +2 and 0 on them. And the reason for that is obviously because one of the expired rolls will be +2 stops and the other one will be normal. And I'm just going to keep the non-expired roll of TMX, a brand new one, in the new back. So let's load the roll of film. It's very easy to load film on a Hasselblad. You just take the back off. I don't like to load the film while the back's on. You can do that. I have seen people do it, but I don't like to do that. Take the dark slide out, and then you open up the camera compartment. Now that's it there. As you can see, it's incredibly well made. Now all you do is you remove the old reel from there, and you put it on this side, and you just turn it till it locks in. Try not to put the plate, this part, down on the ground. You scratch it, it will damage your film. Right, okay, now if you're loading film outside, make sure you take that and put it in your pocket. Don't throw it on the ground. Now what I do is I just run my nail down there to prick the sill and then pull it out. And I normally take that off as well, so it doesn't get jammed in there. Okay, now you load the film like that. Okay, this tab comes out. This goes around, tucks into there. The tongue bit goes in there. You just turn it a little bit so it lines up. And then you just slide it on there like that. You just keep turning it till there. Now you'll see this arrow appear. Now that arrow must line up with that little red arrow on top, and it's as easy as that. Okay, then you put the film back in. Now when you put the film in, you must be careful not to jam it in, because I see a lot of people jam it in, and what will happen if you look, see, it's got creased, which is not what you want. So what I do is I make sure it's nice and flat as I push it in, like that, and that's how it should look. Okay, see, nice. Okay, lock it down, and then I put the dark slide back in, like that, and then the back goes back on. Now, some people will just ram these backs on. I've seen them do it. Don't do that, because it will bend the pins and you'll probably lose your light seal then. Okay, so just flick that switch and it's locked in, as easy as that. Now on the other side here, you have an advance lever, and you just turn it until it stops. Okay, and you go back, put that over, block that in there, and it's done. And then what you'll see a little tiny number 1 there, and that's the film loaded. Now you cannot fire the Hasselblad when the dark slide's in. The dark slide comes out, and that's why these new backs have this system. You can actually buy a cheaper version. This is a Chinese one you can stick on your old Hasselblad backs. And you put that in there, lock it in, done, and you're ready to go. Okay, now the camera will fire now. But take that out, put it in there when you're not using the camera, because movement on this back can sometimes move a bit too much and it can let light in and damage your film. So when you're not using the camera, always make sure you've got the dark slide in. Right, that's it really. I'm going to head off out now. Now, a few things I've learned from doing this video is, number 1, don't try and do 3 things at once. I had so much trouble trying to remember what I was doing half the time. That's why you only saw 7 photos, because I kind of mucked up a few of them. Trying to shoot with 3 different backs and swap them over and remember what I was doing got a little bit complicated. So 2 backs next time, not 3. Second thing, one of my backs is faulty. The +2 back, for some reason, wasn't winding the film on correctly. So you would have seen on a couple of photos a line across the top and a line across the bottom of a double exposure. So I know I've got an issue with +2 back. So I need to get that looked at and see what's wrong with it, because I can't really have that happen all the time. It ruined a couple of shots, but this was only an experiment to see about expired film and how well it worked after 20 years, roughly, is what we think. So yes, I've got a fault with number 2 back. And number 3, expired film. The response I got in my last video, and what most people were saying, it was 15 to 20 years old. So I overexposed it for 2 stops, but I didn't need to be truthful. It actually looked better than the current TMX at standard exposure. That was for my light meter. That was a 308, little tiny Taconic light meter. And then overexposing it by 2 stops actually was pretty nice. I must admit, I did like the look of it. I don't normally overexpose my film that much, but you can overexpose film quite a bit. That was 2 stops, and there was no loss really. I could have recovered the sky and the software if I wanted to, but I didn't. I kept everything exactly the same. So all of the film was developed exactly the same. And the only issue I had was I shouldn't have put an old film and a new film in the same tank, because I just was a little bit worried it may have affected the chemical reaction. Because the film was so old, I don't actually know if there was any difference there. But next time it will be one roll in one tank and develop. The old film has a different backing paper. It's slightly thicker than the new TMX, and the actual film itself was thicker and stiffer than the TMX that I loaded first. The new TMX I loaded first into the tank, into the reel, and then I loaded a roll of the old stuff, and you can feel it was a lot thicker and it was stiffer. I was at one point, I was worried I was going to actually snap it. It was quite stiff. And the second part was it took a lot of time to load it on. I didn't think I was going to get it on there in the end, and eventually it did catch and it did go on, but it was very, very difficult. It wasn't as easy as the new TMX. So something that does become of age, the film does get stiffer, obviously. That's one thing I've learned, so that's it. But this is the actual backing paper, which is quite cool, and it's printed in the USA. I actually thought I only bought 2 rolls. It turns out I bought 5 rolls of this expired film. I found these 3 in a box. So yeah, we'll talk about them in a minute. But what I want to talk about is the film at standard exposure. This old TMX actually looked better than the new TMX at standard exposure. The exposures were exactly the same. Everything was kept the same. All I did was, with one of the photos, I overexposed by 2 stops because we thought this was about 20 years old. So I thought I'd give it a stop per decade and see the difference. But to be honest, I didn't need to do that. The standard exposure compared to the new TMX and the old TMX, I prefer actually the old TMX. It looks a lot better. It's got a much better look to it, this old film. Don't know why. Maybe it just gets better with age. Is that true about everything? Don't answer that. Right. So what I'm going to do for you guys, because I've got some extra rolls left over, and I've got a roll of TMX. Now I'm not going to give you all of these old rolls because I actually want to shoot some more of this. But what I'm going to do is, if you like the video, comment on the video and subscribe to my channel as always. I will send you a roll of old TMX, which is still really good, and a roll of new TMX 120 anywhere in the world. All you have to do is like, comment on the video, subscribe to my channel, and in a few weeks I will pick a winner. This week, in a couple of days, I will pick the winner of the Ortho film. So remember to keep an eye on my community page on my YouTube channel, and then I'll put a photo up there of the winner, and I will contact you, and then I will send you the film. So what did you actually think of the expired film? Which film did you prefer in the slideshow? If you want to check out the actual files, they're down below in a Dropbox link in the description. You can download them for yourself and check them out. Like I said, I actually prefer the look of the old TMX. It looks better with age to me. It's got a lot better look to it. And yeah, it's a nice film actually. It's amazing how robust film is. I'm not sure a digital camera after 20 years will be as reliable as film. Black and white film seems to do really well with age. Coming up later this week is a video on a new scanner I've been sent. It's a slide scanner, so I had to purchase some slides from an auction, and I'll talk about it in the video. They're quite unique slides that I've been able to get hold of. There's 800 of them basically, and keep an eye out for that video because that will be coming later on this week. That will be a 2-part video because I'm going to do a quick review and show you how the actual scanner works and some samples, and then I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask me what you want me to test on the scanner. A lot of people lately have been sending me emails on how to turn slides into a digital format, and I think this could be a really, really good solution for you. So keep an eye out for that video. Remember to subscribe and hit a little bell and get a notification when that video comes up. But as always, thank you so much for watching.